EgyptAir is one of the most recognized airlines in Africa. It is a proud member of the Star Alliance network, which is the biggest airline alliance in the world. EgyptAir has holdings in over 20 companies around the world and owns great subsidiaries in the airline industry and other industries including healthcare and plastic manufacturing industries. For a company to be in operation for as long as 90 years, it must be huge. In this video, we will be looking at how EgyptAir began, how it has survived for almost a century now, and finally how big it has grown. Welcome to African Dream Motivation, and my name is Bernard. Let's now get into it. The journey began in the early 1930s when the aviation industry began expanding towards Africa. EgyptAir became one of the world's pioneers in the airline industry and was established in May 1932. It became the 7th carrier in the world, proving its relevance in the African and world aviation story. It was named Misr Airlines and was purposely to promote the spirit of aviation among Egyptian youth. The initial investment was 20,000 Egyptian pounds, with ownership split between Misr Bank, Airworks, and Egyptian private investors. Commercial operations started in July 1933 with a Spartan cruiser flying from Cairo to Alexandria. By August 1933, the frequency of the Cairo-Alexandria service had been increased to twice daily. This demonstrated how determined Egyptian Airline was. In 1935, the airline added a total of 12 de Havilland to its fleet. Also in 1935, the airline carried 6,990 passengers and 21,830 kilograms of freight. By the end of the year, these regular services flew 419,467 miles. While the company was enjoying great success, the Second World War arrived, causing a halt to the services the airline renders. This was the time Egyptian government decided to make a move. The state became the sole shareholder and changed the name of the company to Misr Air SAE. After the massive change, the airline purchased both American and German aircraft, adding so much variety to its fleet. They purchased a British medium-range turboprop airline called Vickers Viscount. As of March 1955, the carrier had a fleet comprising of 1 Beechcraft, 3 Languedocks, and 7 Vikings, and were awaiting delivery of the orders they had placed for Vikings Discount. They went ahead and subsequently purchased and deployed Douglas DC-3 on domestic routes as well as neighboring Arab countries. This contributed to the growth in the number of passengers carried to 77,050, which was tremendous. With the success of the company rising in trends, the Second Arab-Israeli War, known as the Suez Crisis, caused the loss of several aircraft. With this notwithstanding, 1957 brought unity in the Arab region, resulting in the renaming of the airline from Misr Air to United Arab Airlines. This was as a result of a merger with Syrian Airlines. United Arab Airlines embarked on an enhancement of its fleet by acquiring Comet 4C jets and becoming the first carrier in the Middle East to use these jets. Getting to the late 1960s, the airline introduced Boeing 707-320C. This was an effort to manage growing international traffic and also enable them to operate longer routes. These new developments made the United Arab Airlines the first airline in the Middle East to fly Boeing 707s. In 1971, a great development began, causing Misr Air and Syrian Air to split, bringing an end to the name United Arab Airlines. The name was then changed to EgyptAir on 10th October 1971, following the country changing its name to the Arab Republic of Egypt. EgyptAir inherited the staff, equipment, assets, and liability of United Arab Airlines. With its new identity, the airline was ready to expand its destination served to increase the number of passengers carried and influence the African aviation industry positively towards growth. One of the major issues the airline faced was a series of plane crashes that dented the image of the airline. Gradually, they worked hard to build a strong reputation that became trustworthy in Africa and on the international stage. The downfall of many airlines in Africa has been political interference and corruption allegations pioneered by government officials. To make EgyptAir an exception, a special legislation was enacted to permit the management of the company to operate as if they were privately owned without any interference from the government. EgyptAir is also self-financing without any financial backing by the government of Egypt. All these were possible after the airline underwent a major corporate re-engineering in 2002, which resulted in the company changing its structure from a government organization into a holding company with subsidiaries. Today, the airline has grown to have great alliances with international aviation groups, as well as having subsidiaries and stakes in other companies. On 17 July 2008, EgyptAir joined the largest airline alliance in the world, the Star Alliance Network. This was an outstanding achievement, placing the airline on a higher status. Joining Star Alliance enabled EgyptAir customers to have access to 1,290 destinations in 195 countries. What made it even unique was that EgyptAir was the only Star Alliance member in North Africa and the Middle East. This meant that the airline had opportunity to enjoy priority treatment across 26 airlines, better flight conditions, and a more comfortable travel experience. This was simply a step to greatness. The airline received many international spotlights, which helped strengthen its alliance and subsidiaries in any way possible. EgyptAir wholly owns Egypt Express, which is a regional airline based in Cairo. Egypt Express was established in 2006 to offer increased frequencies on domestic and regional routes through the use of smaller aircraft. Also, EgyptAir owns a 100% stake in Air Sinai, which was established to save flights exclusively between Egypt and Israel. Apart from owning stakes in these mentioned companies, EgyptAir has a 60% stake in Air Cairo. In early 2007, EgyptAir partnered with the Egyptian Ministry of Civil Aviation and Egyptian Holding Company for Airports and Air Navigation to form a new corporate airline called Smart Aviation Company, in which EgyptAir has 20% stake. According to their 2019-2020 annual report, the airline has shareholdings in 20 different local and international companies. In July 2002, the company became a holding company with 8 subsidiaries. Let's look at how big and successful these subsidiaries are. EgyptAir Airlines. This has been the heart of the company and has been in service for more than 90 years since its establishment in 1932. The airline has about an average of 8 million passengers carried per year since 2007. This places them among the top 3 airlines in Africa, with only South African Airways and Ethiopian Airlines above them in terms of passengers carried. As of 30th June 2020, the airline's total narrow-body aircraft was 43, while their wide-body aircraft numbered 16. This brings the total operation fleet to 59, which is quite an impressive number. So many development and improvement have been seen with the products and services of EgyptAir Airlines, ranging from the use of more advanced aircraft to the infusion of modern-day internet technologies in booking flights. This shows how visionary the company has grown to be. EgyptAir Cargo. EgyptAir Cargo was founded in 2002 and became a subsidiary business unit of EgyptAir Holding. With a couple of long-range wide-body aircraft, EgyptAir Cargo services around 60 scheduled international destinations in the US, Europe, Africa, Asia, and many other places. For any cargo company to be competitive in the industry, terminals need to be established. EgyptAir Cargo established its first cargo terminal in May 1981, which had a capacity of 150,000 tons per year. With the cargo industry expanding, the company has also grown by establishing more terminals to suit the demand. EgyptAir Cargo has strategically positioned itself worldwide by having its main cargo hub located in Cairo International Airport. To have direct access to key trading centers in Europe and the Middle East, EgyptAir Cargo has established several regional hubs in Belgium, Germany, UAE, and a few key destinations. Also, EgyptAir Cargo is one of the most profitable subsidiaries of EgyptAir Holding. According to the annual report of the airline for 2019-2020 financial year, the company achieved a surplus of 31 million Egyptian pounds after taxes. The cargo subsidiary handled 138,950 tons as the total cargo carried through the Cairo Cargo Complex. These and many other achievements have positioned EgyptAir Cargo as a huge market contender in the Middle East and Africa. EgyptAir Maintenance and Engineering. It also became a separate business entity as a subsidiary of EgyptAir Holding Company. Some of the services it renders include continuous airworthy management, airframe management, and components management services for a wide range of aircraft. It is simply the full maintenance, repair, and overhaul service provider in Egypt. The company's exceptional services made it a strong participant in the Dubai Air Show's 2019 edition. They also participated in MRO Middle East held in Dubai on February 2020. It is therefore one of the greatest airline maintenance and engineering companies in the world. EgyptAir Ground Services. This is one of the most active long-serving ground services on the continent. It began its operation in Egypt and the Middle East in 1938. It operates in all airports in Egypt and a few other international airports. EgyptAir Ground Services provide full scope of ground handling services that include passenger and baggage handling, ramp handling of all kinds of AC, loading and unloading, and many more. EgyptAir Duty Free. It all began in 1963 when duty-free shops began operating at a transit terminal in Cairo Airport. In 1967, the first duty-free shop was established in the Arrival Hall. Today, EgyptAir Tourism and Duty Free is operating a duty-free outlet in all Egypt airports in departure and arrival halls. It also became a subsidiary of EgyptAir Holding after the presidential decree was made in 2002. It operates retail outlets, which include diplomat shops located in all airports in Egypt, as well as retail units outside the airports. Even though this subsidiary was also hit by the COVID-19 restrictions, which caused the closure of airports from March to July 2020, it managed to achieve a surplus of 184.8 million Egyptian pounds in the 2019-2020 financial year. This was really impressive. EgyptAir In-Flight Services. This aspect of the company has been in business for more than 60 years. It started as a catering service in 1948 and became a subsidiary of EgyptAir Holding Company in 2002. Its services include in-flight catering, cafeterial and restaurants, event catering, laundry services, washing equipment, dry ice factory, loading and offloading services, and many more. One fascinating detail is that EgyptAir In-Flight Catering Services own a dry ice factory that produces dry ice for EgyptAir, the local market, as well as international airlines. This subsidiary was very functional during the heat of the COVID-19 pandemic. EgyptAir Medical Services. In 1983, EgyptAir Medical Sector was established, which began offering services exclusively to its employees and their families. The medical service has been extended to millions of patients from all over the world. It also became a subsidiary in 2002, and its services expanded to cover much more customers than before. From their annual report for 2019 to 2020, it was stated that EgyptAir Hospital now provides sophisticated and specialized medical care through advanced surgeries. It also accommodates over 280 inpatient beds, receiving an average of 1,500 outpatients per day. During the heat of the COVID-19 pandemic, the hospital provided and increased the number of ventilators, which helped in treating COVID-19 patients. EgyptAir Supplementary Industries. This is a subsidiary that was established in April 2006. The purpose of this establishment was to manufacture non-structural items and all other plastic items used for in-flight catering services. It is also responsible for all printed materials for administrative activities. The EgyptAir Supplementary Industries also have a fashion unit called Aero Fashion. This is a ready-made clothing factory which uses the latest design and sewing machine to satisfy all needs of EgyptAir, including employee uniform and other customers. This subsidiary achieved a net profit of 11.3 million Egyptian pounds for the 2018-2019 fiscal year. All these subsidiaries, individually and collectively, play an important role in sustaining the airline. From a small airline startup to an airline holding company with multi-million companies under its umbrella. This is how big EgyptAir has become. Even though EgyptAir Holding Company has been successful in achieving profitability, the main airline company is struggling with huge losses. This has caused the consolidated financial statement of the airline to present over 2 billion Egyptian pound deficit in the 2019-2020 financial statement. This is just a representation of what has been happening since 2011. Click on the first link in the description below to check out our video on what really happened to EgyptAir. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. This has been Bernard and you've been watching African Dream Motivation. Kindly subscribe for more.